Welcome, and let me begin by taking you back to the land of the Kiwis, New Zealand, when I was a 17-year-old college student who had faith in my heart's desire because I believed I knew who I was. That is, until one feminist studies class, when I could no longer deny the frustration I felt at the realization that I could not love feminism the way I so badly wanted to. After one semester, not only had I failed to figure out why all my feminist studies lectures were so manly, it also dawned on me that I just might have signed up for the wrong tribe. That day, as I wrestled with this creeping sense of alienation, it hit me. Feminism had become the very thing it existed to oppose. Feminism had become masculinized. And that was not the tribe I thought I had signed up for. Yes, I wanted to change the world as all young people do, but not at the expense of becoming a stranger to myself. That moment was my awakening to that tug of war between my masculinity and my femininity. The earliest memory I have of this tension was when I was a boisterous 7-year-old child who was repeatedly shamed into sitting with my legs crossed, because that's how proper ladies sit. Shamed into curbing my bossiness because good girls are demure. Shamed into walking daintily and not like Margie. Because real girls don't lumber like elephants. So not surprisingly, I became an angry, idealistic teenager who scoffed at the price that earlier generations of women paid for equal rights, believing that my generation, us, could have negotiated better. Not only did I scorn women who squandered their degrees by becoming stay-at-home moms, I also took it out on my mother with mean, unsolicited remarks about her choices in life. As a rising corporate star who excelled in traditionally male-dominated domains, I felt invincible. I had no patience for women who whined about equal opportunity. For wasn't my life proof enough that meritocracy existed, given how I was the anointed female assigned the flagship IT project? Then in my 30s, a series of frightful events washed away almost everything I believed to be true. And as I slowly recovered, I realized that in spite of that insight I had at 17, I had still somehow become the very thing I was running away from, an impoverished expression of femininity. I've somehow elevated a simple tug of war into a full-scale, passive, aggressive war against my own femininity. And in the aftermath of that war, as I wandered among the debris, wondering which parts of me to salvage, I made a decision for peace. And what do I mean by that? Today, in my 40s, that yearning I had when I was 17 to belong to a tribe is still here. But instead of waiting for something out there, I took one action to start a tribe of one, me, myself, and I. We embarked on a diplomatic pilgrimage to make peace among all our warring selves, because just as Karen had shared, true change comes from deep within when we are convinced that our heart's desire is worthy of attention. Then I took one more action to turn my family into a tribe, where my husband is clearly the more romantic one between us, where it's okay for me to be angry, where we encourage our daughter to pursue her passion for mathematics and dancing. Then one more action that in confluence with every other person's actions resulted in this tribe here today. And through this journey of creating one tribe after another, I learned that my sense of belonging can only be as true as my willingness to be authentic, which is something very challenging for me because it means I have to speak my truth, the one thing I fear more than public speaking. But I was determined to make peace, even if it meant accepting the totality of who I am, darkness, brilliance, everything in between. How, you may ask, does this apply to the corporate world? Let me share 3 examples with you. First, growing your company's top line requires competitive masculine energy balanced with nurturing feminine energy so the team doesn't burn out. We've heard a lot about the burnout. Second, deciding whether to close an offshore R&D center, and some of you may have experienced that, requires a balance of masculine energy to make tough decisions that hurt people with feminine energy to help people transition into new lines. Giving constructive performance feedback, I'm sure our favorite thing to do, requires a balancing of forthright masculine energy to maintain competence and generative feminine energy to restore confidence. Katya's life story, flowing between competence and confidence, is beautifully illustrated when she said yes to accepting P&L responsibilities. Framing organizational competences in a gender-neutral manner creates equal opportunities for all genders to express both feminine and masculine superpowers so that we may unleash our potential to thrive in this volatile and complex world. But that is only the beginning, because to mainstream this mindset, we ladies have to take up Arati's gauntlet and stop undervaluing, underplaying, and underestimating ourselves and start telling our stories. Be inspired by Arati's example to slave fossil-whites, because for every single one of us in this room who speaks out, we pave the way. We make it easier for others who follow. And that is how we turn one moment into a movement. And men, I remember you. You must also do your part. Because just as Adele gave no consent for the violation of her dignity, so too must you give no consent for the censoring of your feminine part. And you gotta do what Wendy says. I want some of Wendy's 100, you remember this, right? Because why should I leave a compromise of 50-50? I want to be whole as well. I don't know about you, but I don't want to belong to a tribe where only one winner is allowed, and there are so many of us, where the rules clearly favor an elite few, where the conditions of belonging requires me to idolize masculinity only to discover that I will never truly belong because I will forever be defined by how unmanly I am. Instead, I want to belong to a tribe where everyone has an equal opportunity at winning if we work at it, where no one is left with nothing, and where I want to belong in the truest sense that demands the truest expression of me to a tribe, where stories like Indira Nooyi, Pepsi's first female Indian CEO, is an expectation and not an exception. Not only do I want to tell my daughter that this is her birthright, it is also the only way to live a life well lived. Is this a dream? Today's dreams become tomorrow's reality if we check cynicism at the door. Today's hopes can shape tomorrow's reality if we let our fears embolden us. Today's actions activate tomorrow's reality. Each of us have a choice to do nothing and let gender inequity perpetuate, or we can all take one action in the direction of a solution, starting today with ourselves, which means for us ladies, it's okay to be bossy, angry, ambitious, and for you men, it's completely okay to be emotional, frightened, compassionate. Then the next day, start with your family. The best way to raise future generations of women is for you men today to support your wives to take that next promotion, even if it means that for a moment you are stepping into the shadow. And the best way to raise future generations of gentlemen is for us women here today to invite, to embrace, and to celebrate our husbands' vulnerabilities. Let's rewrite the rules for our families so it becomes sanctuaries where everyone can truly be seen. Then the next day, one more action. As a female leader in this room, the next time you get asked to make a business case for why men should be on boards, follow Unilever Lena Nara's example and ask, why should men be on boards? As a male leader in this room, don't let the Me Too movement stop you from actively promoting, mentoring, challenging female high talents. Because more than ever, we need exemplary men to stand up, do your part, and stop the distrust among genders from deepening. Those of you in this room who are HR, rewrite the rules for your organization. Make one part of the resume review process gender blind. Create lunch and learn sessions that invite difficult conversations, because if we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. One action in the direction of a solution. I stand on the stage here today on the shoulders of every man, every intersex, and every woman, my mother included, who took one action in the direction of a solution. One woman took one action to start KeyNote. One more woman took one more action to support. Then another one action. This collective of one actions in the direction of a solution is what made possible the tribe that is KeyNote today. If not now, when? If not here, where? And if not you, who? Join us truly, and let's make 2019 count for gender equity.